everyone. This is Alan Smith with Crossbridge Church Brickell, here to talk with the community group leaders. I'm really excited about what we're talking about today. It's a super important topic. The topic is sticky church. There's a book, a guy named Larry Osborne, a pastor out in California. He wrote a book called Sticky Church, and this is not going to be our summary of this, but just more of this concept of what a sticky church is. And so the question that is posed is, what is the primary ingredient that keeps people in the church? What sticks them in the church? A lot of people think it's the incredible preaching of Carter, or it may be the incredible music of Brandon. And as good as those two guys are, or maybe it's the hospitality of Debbie, or the ballerinas, or there's all a whole host of ways we can answer that. But I think research has shown, and I think you probably also know intuitively, that it's not those things. It's relationships is the primary reason that a visitor or someone who's been coming frequently stay and have retention in the church. There was a book put out by McIntosh and Earn called What Every Pastor Should Know 101. And simply put, this was their thesis. If people have friends in the church, they will stay. And if they don't, they won't. Of all the members who drop out of the church, get this, 82% leave the first year. Retention efforts are thus critical in the first year, the first 12 months of someone in a new church. See, we put all this effort into bringing people, inviting people to our community groups, inviting people to the church, but little effort, a lot of time, is placed upon helping people stay, retaining the ones that are there. And the pattern of dropout is not random. They either leave the first 6 months after 12 months. So there's two benchmarks. There's two time frames that we need to look at, and that's what we're going to talk about a little bit with you right now. And so during this first year of someone who's at the church for the first time, they internally evaluate themselves, and they ask themselves questions. And so let's look at some of those questions that they ask themselves. So the first 6 months, they ask these three questions. The first question is, have I made any friends in the church? Is the people in the church, are there anybody here not only has greeted me and has been friendly to me, but do I actually have a friend? And I'm not sure how they came up with this number, but they say that new members who remained active in the church have made on average, you may want to guess how many friends? 7. 7 new friends in the first 6 months. The dropouts had an average of less of 2 friends. So that's the first question they ask. Have I made any friends in this church? And we're looking for 7 new friends. The second question is there a place for me in the life of this church or in the life of this community group? Critically important to this question is whether or not the new member is in a community group. Now, I'm thinking back on the last question, and some of you are like, well, I don't even have 7 people in my community group. That's okay. We're not looking here that they make everybody in your community group is the best friend or even a friend. But we are looking for that some of these friends are found in community groups, so a handful, 2 or 3. But they would need to have more friends than just the community group. So is there a place for me in the life of this church where I fit? And so that for us, here at Brickell, that's community groups and opportunities to serve throughout Brickell and the city, and also in the life of our church as well. The third question they asked the first 6 months is, does this church really want me here? Are the members still as friendly as they were a month or 2 months after me being here than they were when I first came? Am I being invited or encouraged to participate on an ongoing basis in different opportunities, different ministries? So those are the 3 questions that they ask the first 6 months. If they make it past the 6-month mark, then here's some more questions they begin to ask themselves. And I find this very interesting. The next question is, are my new friends as good as my old friends? the members begin to assess the quality of the relationships. They begin to say, all these friends that I have at work or in my neighborhood, are they really better than the ones I had? And it's fun to watch how people, we've had this recently happen here at Brickell. I was just at lunch today, and I was connecting two guys together, never met each other. One was from South Africa, you probably know who I'm talking about. Another guy is from Haiti who lived over in Japan. They didn't know each other. When they sat down, because they were Christians, because the Spirit of God was living in both of them, they immediately bonded. And that's what we're looking for. Only Jesus, through the Holy Spirit, can do this. And so that's why we should be better friends. There should be a deeper connection that we're making in our community groups than they can find anywhere else in the world outside the church. So are my new friends better or as good as my old friends? The next question they ask themselves is, does the group meet my needs? Do they know I'm here? Do they pray for me? Do they they stay in touch with me? Do they text me? By the time the new member has been involved in a group for more than 6 months, they're asking if the investment of time is really worth it. That's what they're asking. And the last question they ask is my contribution in this community group or in the church at large important? Everyone wants to be a part of something larger than themselves. And so the church member joins the church with those expectations. They know that something bigger is happening there. And near the end of the first year, they begin to evaluate that issue and they start weighing if their contributions is really contributing to the overall mission of the church. So here's the main point. God will only send those who we can befriend and take care of. Think about that. God will send to Brickell only those that we can take care of and can be their friends. And so what do we do from here? Where should we go from here? We want to open the front door and the side doors of the church. Now, the front door is Sunday worship, where we do on 5 o'clock every Sunday. The side doors are your groups. That we want to open both of those doors. But the next thing we want to do is we want to close that back door. And the way we close the back door is through friendship. And so when you begin to take steps in making friends with people that are new, that is so freaking important in the life of the church and in the life of your community group. So I have 4 questions that I want you to consider for our next Zoom call. The first question is, what do you think visitors would say about your community group and our church? That's the first question. What do you think visitors would say about our community? Number 2, how are we doing in retaining existing relationships? Are we doing a good job? Are we doing okay? How are we doing? And if so, the third question is, what are we doing well? It'd be really, if we're doing good, it's really good to know what we're doing good at. So what are we doing well at? And the last question is, what can we do to improve? How can we be a more hospitable community? All right, so that's it. I'll look forward to having a conversation with you next Tuesday night, and we'll discuss this topic. Thanks so much for tuning in.